Hello, folks. Welcome to Scratch the Surface. I'm EJ Scott. Today, my guest is Michael Ausiello. Michael is a writer. He's a former writer for TV Guide and Entertainment Weekly. He now writes and co-founded TVLine.com. He's a good guy, and he's got a very interesting story. Before I talk about what we talked about, I'd like to give myself a plug. Follow me on Twitter at EJ Scott, the podcast at EJ Podcast, my website, ejscott.com, Instagram, EJScott1106. I raise money for charity. Go to crowdrise.com/7on7. That's the number 7 on the number 7. There's a dozen different charities there that could all use your support. Very good charities. And also, I am losing my eyesight to an eye disease called choroideremia. And in 2012, I ran 12 marathons in 2012 in 12 states, and blindfolded because what I have is I'm very sunlight sensitive, so I had to do it blindfolded. But in that year, I raised money for charity, and I was able to. A guy I know made a documentary about my runs. So the documentary is called Running Blind, and you can find it on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon for $2 or $3. You can rent it or own it. It's well worth your time and money if you go check it out. I promise. Okay. So Michael, I met Michael in New York. He was nice enough to come over my place and talk with me for a bit. I met him a couple years ago, and I reached out to him. He has a very interesting story because he was married to a man named Kit, and Kit ended up getting cancer and passing away. And Michael was very open about it. I'm Facebook friends with him, and he would often, he's such a good writer, so he would always write these really beautiful, I don't know, almost like essays about his relationship with his husband, and it just made me want to reach out and see if he would be willing to talk about that on my podcast, and he was kind enough to come join. It took a while to get him on. He's been busy writing a book about his, I guess, his relationship with Kit, and that whole experience of the cancer and the treatment and losing him. So we talk about that, but we talk about a lot of other stuff too. Growing up and coming out of the closet as gay, and we talk a lot of television stuff. We talk a lot of TV stuff and how we got started and all that. Entertainment Weekly, TV Guide. Celebrities that he's interacted with and that he's friendly with. Lots of cool stuff to talk about. So from March 11th, 2017, please enjoy my talk with Michael Ausiello. And hi, Mike.
Hey, Jay, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Now, I asked you this just a minute ago, but do you prefer Mike over Michael?
I don't have a preference, honestly. Professionally, like writing the written word, like on my stories, and like professionally, I like Michael, but in casual conversation, I don't really care.
Okay, so either one.
Either one's fine. Mike.
How about Mikey?
I'm not a fan of Mikey. There are some people that call me Mikey, and I
Really?
feel like, yeah, and it's hard not to be slightly insulted by that.
Who's calling you that?
One of my former bosses, one of my first bosses out of college, who used to call me Mikey when I was like 20 years old.
Okay. Just for fun.
Yeah.
He just came up with it.
And still calls me Mikey. And I haven't had the heart to tell him to stop calling me Mikey. It just feels like he's talking to a 5-year-old.
My dad does stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll have like a friend named Rich, and he calls him Richie. How's Richie doing? He'll just add an IE or a Y to the end of it. I don't know why.
I think also I think of Mikey Likes It, the cereal
Mikey,
kid,
Mike? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, and
Life, right? Life cereal, right?
and Mikey doesn't always like it.
No.
I'm just gonna put that out
He was
there.
just
He doesn't always like it.
Were you talking about yourself
I'm
or
talking
the
about
kid?
myself.
Oh, okay.
He might have liked it, but Mikey doesn't like.
I'm not even
everything.
convinced he liked it.
You're right. He was probably had a gun to his head.
He never
Poor
smiled
kid.
or anything. He ate it, but it was begrudgingly.
He was not a happy kid. You're right. There was a lot of sadness in those eyes.
He's like, this life, it gets like slop real fast.
Yeah.
It gets
They
like
did
slop.
a lot of takes on that.
Well, I know you're an actor.
Well,
You're on IMDb.
Please, I am on IMDb, but it's very misleading because it looks like you look at those credits, you're like, wow, he's done a lot of stuff, and then you actually, see the episodes, and it's like, you'll see my hand in one of them.
Yeah.
You'll see me passing through a scene in the other. Occasionally, I have a line or two. Scrubs, actually, I actually not only had dialogue, but it was just me and Elizabeth Banks in a scene. She was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And she had a prosthetic belly, and I was her doctor. Like,
I had
Bill Lawrence gave me a real role and a pivotal role.
Yeah.
On Scrubs. She was having JD's kid, and I was doing the ultrasound on her stomach. It was just me and Elizabeth Banks in a scene.
How was that?
It was pretty great, and it was before Elizabeth Banks was Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah.
She was on her way up, but she's not like who she is now.
She's major.
So you better believe every time I see her, I'm like, hey, Elizabeth, don't forget where you came from, right over here.
If she has a real baby, maybe she'll look you up.
She should. I think she does, doesn't she?
I don't know. I don't know enough about Elizabeth Banks.
Anyway.
Well, have you thought about like being an actor more seriously or anything like that?
No, I went through my acting phase. Let's see, when I was working at TV Guide, or right before TV, I started working at TV Guide. I was in my mid 20s, and I decided on a fluke to audition for a community theater production of Bye Bye Birdie because a friend of mine was doing the choreography.
What part?
I was just going to be
Conrad.
I was just going to be. Oh wait, who? I auditioned just for a chorus role, but I got. Okay. I'm trying to remember who it was that I got. God, I'm forgetting who it was. It was one of the smaller characters.
Okay.
I'm totally blank on who it was, but I did actually have a role. I got a role, but it was a New Jersey community theater production of Bye Bye Birdie, and I really enjoyed it. And
so you did it.
And I did it, and then I did like 6 shows after that. Like I built a little momentum for myself.
Different plays
around New Jersey and community theater. Some serious. I'm not really a singer, so I steered away from the musicals and did just more of just straight plays. Biggest one I did was Biloxi Blues. I played Arnold Epstein.
That's a great play.
And I actually got nominated for like New Jersey Community Theater's main acting award for lead actor.
Dude.
And I couldn't go to the ceremony because it was the weekend of the Emmys. I was at TV Guide at the time, and I had to make a choice. It was like this is. I mean, it was so cool to be nominated, and I would have loved to have been there.
It was an honor just to be nominated.
No, really, but it seriously was like, because I never win anything. So I was like, I so wanted to go, but it was the weekend of the Emmys. It was my first or second year at TV Guide, and I needed to go to the Emmys, so I couldn't go. I didn't end up winning, and that ended up being my last gig, my last acting gig.
But you had to get to the Emmys so you could schmooze and try to get your next acting gig,
yeah.
Right?
No, but so Biloxi Blues was the end of my legitimate acting career. I had my fun, and I don't have any desire to go back.
Okay. Well, you ended it on a high.
I did. I went out.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I went out with guns blazing.
That's not bad.
A community theater nomination from New Jersey. That's something. That's something. That's a resume enhancer.
Come on, right?
I'll take it.
So you're from Jersey. You were born and raised?
Yes.
What part? Can you say?
I can say, yeah. So I grew up in a little town called Roselle Park, about 15 minutes away from Newark Airport. And I was going
to say that sounds nice, and then you said 15.
Newark Airport. Well, the only reason I say Newark Airport is because no one knows Roselle Park.
Right.
No one knows really any of the surrounding towns around Roselle Park. So, but they do know Newark. They know Newark Airport, for good or bad.
Sure.
So at least that points them in the general vicinity of where I grew up.
Yeah.
But, it was this little, tiny little bubble of a community in New Jersey. It was, it's only like 30 minutes outside of New York City, but you might as well have been a million miles away.
Yeah.
It felt very sheltered.
It felt sheltered. Was it like a nice neighborhood, or was it kind of...
It was nice on the surface, but you look beneath the surface, and um, it was you know, very Republican town, a very
Conservative.
conservative town. My parents themselves were conservative.
Ye-
It wasn't maybe the most hospitable environment to grow up gay,
Yeah.
or
Grow up at all.
or any minority.
Yeah.
To be honest with
Yeah.
you, there wasn't a lot of diversity in our town. It was almost all white.
Well, the good news is it was close to the airport if you needed to go
Right.
somewhere.
Well, there's that. So
Hop, skip, and a jump.
yeah, although I didn't really have that opportunity to, you know, I didn't take advantage of that much. So I was stuck in this little town in New Jersey, and I you know, I made the best of it. I, you know, and that's how sort of my love of TV came about. I just sort of, you know, threw myself into TV as an escape,
Yeah,
and
me too.
it became my a lifesaver for me in many ways.
Yeah. When I grew up, I mean, conservative. I wasn't gay or anything, but I still felt different than everybody else. My parents are lean toward conservative, and 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 they were just, you know, Long Island is very loud, and Jersey you probably see some of this too. It's just very loud, very big personalities,
yeah.
characters,
Mhm.
and I was too shy. I was a little shy, so I was starting to hide from my own family. So I would go into the basement, which was a nice bed. It was made. There was a rug and a TV and a, you know, stuff like that. But but I would just
Like
watch.
we were chained down there.
Yeah, it wasn't
Like
Saw.
some Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, it wasn't
thing.
like anything like that. I like the TV reference there.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Trying
kudos.
to work those in.
But so I just stayed down there. I would draw. I would watch TV, and that was my life for 17 years mostly. That was it. And I'm still kind of like that. I
Yeah.
still need like an escape place. Like if Deborah and I have a house, but I have an area I can go to
In the house.
In the house,
Man cave,
if
Okay.
you will.
All
Sure.
right. Okay.
And I watch TV, and it's just I've always needed that.
And it's your space. Your rules. You can do whatever you want
That's
in
right.
there. Okay.
No girls allowed.
Okay. Nice.
All right, she
Okay.
could come in. She
All
could
right.
come in. But it's a very nerdy space. It's a mess. But I'll hibernate in there if I need to.
Yeah, you
You
need
know,
that. You
I need
absolutely need that. Yeah.
But so were you picked on and stuff growing
Yes.
up? Yeah,
Mercilessly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was
got them
bullied.
all.
Probably not as bad as you, but I was bullied until I got bigger than everybody. Then I
Oh.
stopped getting bullied.
Yeah.
But yeah, how bad did it get?
It got pretty bad. I mean, the one thing that sort of, you know, saved me a little bit from, you know, probably being beaten was my older brother was rather popular and a big sports star in school.
How many siblings do you have?
2 siblings, one younger, one older. So my
Okay.
older brother, who was 2 years older than me, was a big sports star and
Straight.
and was also, you know, so everybody referred to me as Pete's brother. My brother's name was Pete,
Sure.
so I was Pete's brother, which I didn't actually object to because it was, you know, it was like sort of this shell around, like it was a protective shell, in many ways, but you know, not always. So you know, I got picked on like because I was also overweight, so I wasn't just gay.
Really?
I was heavily overweight,
No
like
kidding.
obese.
No
Not
kidding.
throughout my entire childhood, but when I hit high school, and I think I started to realize how different I was and how alone I was, I started to eat.
Comforting yourself.
Yes.
With different
So
things.
I got I was called Grimace.
Were you purple?
I was not purple, and I don't. It was like, hey guys, I'm not purple, and I specifically avoided wearing purple
Yeah.
because I
you're
didn't
kidding.
want to, you know, I didn't want to give them.
Even if you're a Prince fan, you're like, I can't do
no, I
it.
can't do it.
I can't do it.
You know, and then all the typical gay slurs, you know,
Sure.
horrible stuff, and
How young were you when you realized you were gay?
I realized something was different. Like I
Mhm.
realized I had an attraction for the same sex, probably around fifth grade.
Oh, okay.
Like I had a crush on my gym teacher.
Okay.
It's kind of a cliche, but
And older guys too.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just that was the first. Oh, and also just like I would notice like ads and TV Guide. You know, I think who was the baseball star who did underwear ads way back when?
Oh God, all of them.
Oh yeah, well, so one of them did an
I don't
underwear
know.
ad, and that sort of was like, but at the time, I didn't realize anything was wrong with it. Like it was just natural,
Sure.
you know what I mean? But then I think when I would start to vocalize it or anyway, and I would see reactions to it, I started to realize, oh,
Hmm.
this isn't normal. And then
Yeah.
I started to pull back. And as I got older, I realized just how not normal it was.
Because when you're a kid, I've caught myself doing it as well to like little kids, like, do you have a girlfriend yet, or
Yeah.
whatever, and you're kind of expected that way. It's kind of directed that way.
Right, you're conditioned
You're
to
conditioned.
go on this path, and then when you start to diverge from that path, and you're little and you don't understand what's happening,
Yeah.
and everything that you're being told is that there's something wrong with you. Like all of the signals you're getting are that it's not natural, that something's wrong with you. It's a scary, lonely thing.
Yeah. My best friend growing up was gay, and he got picked on a lot. And I stuck up for him because I didn't know he was gay, and he did not tell me he was gay.
He was just your friend, and
He was just my friend,
Yeah.
and I had to stick up for him and say, no, he's not gay, knock it off. And he
Right.
had girlfriend. I didn't have girlfriends. He had girlfriends and stuff. Turns out, in his 20s, he came out as gay, and we lost touch after high school and stuff. But we've sort of reconnected a few years ago, and we talked about it more and stuff. It was pretty interesting. But I think back now of like, oh my God, he couldn't even tell his best friend that he was gay. And he got caught because he had like porn under his bed that his brother found or something like that.
Right.
But that's scary. That must be, it was hard enough as a straight guy.
Right. High school's not hard enough for just anybody, but then you throw all of these, the double whammy of being fat and gay
Yeah.
into the mix, and it's, and I've been to high school reunions since then, and the folks who bullied me were there,
Really?
and that was sort of a healing experience just to see how different people are as adults than they were as kids, and one of them even came up and expressed regret,
That's nice.
which was really nice
That's
to
nice.
hear, and it's interesting going to the first reunion. I didn't know what to expect, and part of me was like, am I going to still get bullied? And how am I going to react to that? Like if one of them screams, fudge packer to me
Right.
in the open ballroom as I walk in, what is my reaction? What is adult Mike's reaction to something like that? I know what young Mike's reaction would be, and that's just to, just slither off into the corners and the shadows and attempt to go unnoticed and hope it goes away.
What would adult Mike's
I don't
reaction?
know.
You didn't figure it out.
I didn't figure it out, and I figured maybe if it were to happen, I would make that decision in the moment. I knew it wouldn't be silence.
I would break an arm.
There might be some violence, but also, So anyway, it's interesting how you never shake that baggage. You really don't. Even as an adult going into my reunion, all those old feelings came back up, and it was fine. No one bullied me, and everybody actually was really nice. And
I went to my reunion. Was it 20th that you went to?
the first one was yes, I believe it was our 20th, because we didn't do a 10 year.
Okay.
I think it was our 20th.
So I went to my 20th, and almost nobody was there, which was weird.
How big was your class?
I mean, a couple hundred, and there were like 15 showed up.
Oh, that's sad.
With
Where did you grow up?
wives and stuff. Long Island.
Oh, right, you mentioned that, Long
New
Island.
York, and it was like, and that's kind of where I reconnected with my old best friend.
Right.
Was there, but there were none of the bullies were there. It was actually mostly the nerds that were there, because they were now doctors and lawyers and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And most of the bullies have been stuck on Long Island.
Yeah.
And haven't left, most likely. There's one guy that was a bully through elementary school, junior high school, and high school that I'm Facebook friends with, and he has expressed remorse to people he's bullied over the last, 20 years or something. And I thought that was really interesting, and I went to meet him. He lives here in New York a few years ago, and I met him, and I just talked to him about that. And he picked on me a little bit, but high school less so, but early in the years, and he apologized, and it was really thoughtful. And then recently, the Trump stuff that's been coming up, he's pro-Trump, and I'm like, well, the bully's still sticking up for the bully, I guess.
I know. I've seen a lot of that on Facebook too.
Yeah.
And folks I went to school with, folks I've had now to unfollow.
Yeah.
I'm
doing that every day.
sort of the old habits are creeping back out because they feel like now that it's sanctioned by
Right.
the president of the United
It's
States.
okay.
It's okay now.
Yeah.
I've suppressed it for so long, but now I've got you know free ticket to express how I want to express things, and it's really
No matter
troubling.
how horrible it is.
Yeah,
Well, I saw that you wrote a book and you finished it recently. Congratulations!
Thank you.
That's a big task to write a book.
Uh-huh.
And I read that is it Simon and Schuster?
Simon and Schuster, yeah.
They were gonna. I don't know if they're still doing it. They were gonna print Milo's book, Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah, Milo Yiannopoulos, yeah.
Something like that. I don't know if that still happened. I know he lost a book deal.
That's the book deal he lost.
That's the one he lost. Okay, so that's nice that he's not that they're not gonna. Because I know you wrote about having conflicts about working with somebody that wants to that's okay with giving him a platform, and then your own belief system and everything like that.
Yeah, I really struggled with the fact that I was part of the same corporate family as someone like him. It was really hard for me to wrap my head around. I'm happy that Simon Schuster ultimately did the right thing.
Yeah,
I wish it didn't take them so long to do it. I wish, the fact that he was anti-gay and,
he's anti a lot of things.
Anti-women, anti-Muslim, all of this stuff. I
think he's pro Milo, is my guess.
Absolutely. I wish all those things had been enough for them to sever ties, but it took pedophilia.
Yeah.
To that was the straw.
That was the line.
But I'm all that said, I'm happy that they made the decision, and I'm excited about moving forward with the process of my own book.
Yeah, I saw him on Bill Maher a couple weeks ago, and to me, he I don't know a whole lot about. I just heard about him when the whole Leslie Jones stuff came up, and to me, he seems like an opportunist who will go wherever the most attention he gets.
Absolutely.
Even if he could be a good person and get as much attention as he gets now, then he would do it. But it's harder to do that. So he's
I
like,
don't believe for a second
person.
he truly believes the things that he's saying. I think he just knows that it's going to get him attention.
Yeah.
He found his niche.
Yeah.
And he exploited it.
Yeah. And it's working.
Well, it worked.
He was getting a book deal. He was getting TV appearances and writing for Breitbart at one point, I guess. And,
but karma's a bitch.
Karma's a bitch.
And now he's off in obscurity. Hopefully he'll stay there.
That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice. So you have a little brother as well?
I do.
How old's he?
David. He is 43.
Okay, so you guys
43.
are all...
We're all right in the same cluster. So yeah,
Okay.
David's 43, I'm 45, and my older brother Pete is 46.
46, okay. 46. Are you guys Irish twins?
We're not Irish. What does that mean?
It means you're kind of you're born the same year.
No, we weren't born this. Well, no, we weren't born the same year, but we were all born very, very close together.
Within a year.
Yeah.
What'd your parents do growing up?
My dad was a AstroTurf salesman for stadiums. Like football stadiums and stuff. So we got to go to some cool trips. And I remember the first time I walked on the Giant Stadium, like when it was empty, I think right before they got AstroTurf or something. And I wasn't a big sports fan, but I knew that was cool.
Yeah. Well, it's grand. It's huge. Yeah. It's like walking in the middle of Grand Canyon or something.
And our basement was filled with all AstroTurf samples and all this stuff. So he was an AstroTurf salesman. And my mom was a housewife, homemaker for a long time. And then she, once we got old enough, took over my grandparents' credit check business. And that's basically part of the sort of mortgage process. When you take out a mortgage, you have to do a quick background credit check and find out how many other mortgages you have, how much debt, do you have liens against your property, that kind of stuff. So that's what my grandparents did. They ran that business.
Okay.
And then my mom ultimately took that over when my grandparents got older. And then when my dad lost his job selling AstroTurf, he went in business with my mom, and then they ran the family business.
Okay.
Together.
Okay. How are they still together?
My parents are both deceased.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's good.
How can I ask how they?
Yeah. So my mom died of cancer when I was 16 years old.
What kind?
Throat cancer from smoking.
Smoking. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right in the thick of high school, in the middle of
Mm.
my fat
That didn't
and
help anything.
gay. Yeah, no, it didn't help. And my dad died shortly thereafter while I was in college of heart disease.
The unhealthy guy, or is it
Yeah, he
genetics?
didn't really take care of himself. I think part of it was like he had a he. I think his heart was always he always had a bad ticker. But he didn't eat well and he didn't exercise, all of that stuff.
He
But
was around your mom. Did he smoke?
he did smoke. He had quit though.
Yeah.
He quit. But I'm sure none of that helped, and all the secondhand smoke that was in the house
Yeah.
too. But no, they were both heavy smokers, and my dad actually had a heart transplant.
No
Yeah, and
kidding.
it was like back then, not a lot of those were happening. But the ones that were happening had a fairly high success rate, and he got a match, and we thought that was it. That he dodged the bullet, but he never actually made it out of the hospital after the heart transplant. And 1 month later, he died.
Okay, so he went in for the transplant,
Yeah, he got the transplant and he didn't take.
and it didn't take.
No,
Rejected, I guess. Oh, that sucks. I'm
I was
sorry.
at USC at the time out in California.
Yeah.
I remember it was before cell phones and everything, and I remember I knew he was in the hospital, and I was on edge because he had been in the hospital for too long. We knew something was wrong. He should have been home by now. And the doctors couldn't quite figure out why he wasn't recovering quick enough. And it wasn't as simple as the heart was being rejected because there were signs pointing that it was being accepted, but there was just something about the chemicals in his body and just his level of fatigue. Something was off.
Mm.
And I remember I was on campus, and as I would often do throughout the day, I would check messages on I'd call into my voicemail at home, at my dorm, and check my messages just to see if there was any call, any update on how he was doing. And there was a voicemail from my brother, one of my brother's best friends, my brother Pete's best friends, saying, "Hey, Mike, um, his name was Mike too. It's Mike Gurzo. Just calling. I wanted to let you know." And then the message cut off. And I'm on
What?
campus at the time, and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding
What?
me?"
Oh
So I
God.
literally left campus, and it was only like a 20-minute walk back to I was in the middle of something, middle of you know a project on campus, but I left it, raced home and played the message on my phone, and it was indeed cut off, and because I thought maybe it was just something with dialing in that I
Right.
couldn't hear it, but it was cut off, and then I tracked him down, and that's when I found out that my dad had taken a turn for the worse,
Mm.
and that I was told to get home as quick as possible, and he died while I was on the flight. Yeah,
I'm sorry. When your mom dies while you're in high school,
yeah.
what is the household like after something like that with your dad and with your brothers and stuff like that? Are you guys able to comfort each other or
Yeah, in retrospect, I think therapy would have been good for all of us,
Mm.
but that was like pre-therapy. That
Yeah,
was back
yeah,
when therapy was kooky,
yeah.
But my dad sort of stepped up and really took care of us um, and became a great single dad,
Mm. Okay.
in many ways. And I didn't have the greatest relationship with him, and we grew close after
Yeah.
that because he knew my mom was my whole world. She was my whole world growing up. Like
Yeah.
it was soap operas and my mom. That was my. That's how. That was. Those are my two escapes. That's what got
Wow.
me through childhood. And Smurfs. Let's throw
Oh,
them in too.
Smurfs. They're always good for a laugh.
But then when my mom died, I think my dad knew. My dad knew how devastated I was, and we became a lot closer, which was nice. Also, um, there was the family business aspect of it. I worked in the family business as well through high school. Like I knew the family business. I worked with my mom in family business, and I was good at it. Like I was 14 years old, and I spent my entire summer, doing at the credit check business because I loved it. I loved, you know, being needed. I loved being good at something. I loved being around adults because
They weren't picking on
they
you.
weren't picking on
Yeah.
me, and I got along with them, and I made adult friends, through this professional endeavor. So when my mom died, I had to step up and help my dad run the family business.
Did you think that might be your future?
I
Working there?
was told it could be my future, and it seemed like that was an obvious place to go, but I was determined that that is not what I wanted. I felt like there was something bigger and better out there for me than the family business. So it was not something I ever aspired to. But I uh, I was fortunate to know enough about the family business that I could step in when my mom died, even though I was still going to school, high school at the time. Once I was home from school at 2:30, I jumped into gear
Mm.
and worked, until 6 or 7 o'clock every night with my dad.
Oh, wow.
And then when summer hit, I did that too until I went to college.
How were your grades in school, in high
They were
school?
fine. They weren't
Okay.
great, but they were fine. I was on the honor roll.
It's pretty
Um,
good.
uh, but I wasn't like a straight A student by any means.
Hmm.
But I was fine, passable. I was sucked in math, but I was good in like English.
Did your parents ever? Did you ever talk to your parents about being gay?
So my mom, no, because I was too young.
Yeah.
But my dad, I did come out to my dad while he was waiting for his heart. So what happened was, I when he got sick, and then there was no one to run the family business. I had to take a semester off at USC.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have to.
Right, you chose to.
I chose to.
What would have happened if you didn't? Would it have closed, or somebody else step in, or
Someone else maybe would have had to step in. Um, and actually, someone did step in. He took on a partner, my dad, but he needed someone to. We needed someone to represent the Ausiello family interest. In order to have a partner, someone. My dad had to be pulling his own weight, and he couldn't. So, I'm not sure exactly what would have happened. But anyway, I took a semester off at USC, and I came home to run the family business while my dad waited for his heart transplant. And I said to myself, because at that point I had started to come out to, USC was where I started to come out of the
Right.
closet.
Because you saw other people, it felt freer there, right?
Yeah,
Like
felt freer.
judgmental.
Although
and all
God,
that
USC
stuff.
had its own fucking issues with homophobia.
Oh, really?
Like that's another story. But
All right, we'll get to it.
my took that semester off. I came home and I said to myself, I'm going to make the most of this time home with my dad. And in order to do that, I need to come out to him. He needs to know who I am. Because I don't know where this is going to go, with his heart troubles, and I don't want to squander an opportunity, away from college, being home in the same house with him, and not let him know who I am,
Right.
and not give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe this could bring us closer, and maybe he won't, kick me out of the house and all of that. It was one of the hardest things I ever did,
Yeah. How do you take it?
It was hard. He took it hard. He took
Right.
it hard. Not hard like get out of the house, but hard like crying and, grieving and
Wow.
blaming himself um, and it was
He didn't pick up on the signs like the soap operas and stuff like that?
Hello. And there's no question that the thought had crossed his mind when
Yeah.
growing up. There's no
Yeah.
question. But it's another thing for your son to be sitting across from you and saying, Dad, I'm gay, and I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm proud of who I am. It's a shocking thing, I think.
That generation likes to believe what they want to believe.
Denial, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of denial and repressing and
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and justifying. Yeah, you like so it's okay for him to like soap
Right,
operas.
yeah.
That's just a phase.
Liberace's not gay. He's just flamboyant.
Right, Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
he just like
No.
short shorts.
So yeah, I came out to him, and it was rough because then I come out to him, and then we're stuck in the same house for the next couple months.
Mhm.
At the same time, it's like I'm running the family business. I'm doing this huge thing for him.
Yeah.
And so it was, but we'd have long talks, and you know, he eventually came around and told me that he was really proud of me and loved me.
Oh,
and
good.
Proud that that I told him, which meant a lot. So
Were you happy you told him?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you date in high school? Like, did you like
No.
secretly
No,
kiss a boy or anything like that?
No.
Any of that stuff?
nothing.
No.
Actually, the first boyfriend I had was during that period when I was home from college, from USC, working in the family business. Coming out to my dad, I met someone because I just started going to a support group in Morristown, New Jersey. It's a group called GAMIC, Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against something. I don't know. but it's some like Morristown based like support center for people who are gay. So they had like
Right.
support groups and activities and speakers and all this stuff.
Right.
It actually was fairly
Progressive.
reputable and
Yeah.
sizable.
Yeah.
Given that this was the 90s. And I started going to support groups there too, because also I didn't want I had some momentum with my sort of coming out, and I didn't want it to be stymied by me moving back to New Jersey. So I tried to keep growing, learning who I was. So I sought out this organization, started going to support groups, and I met someone in the 20-something group, and I started dating him.
So the first time you were dating somebody?
Yes,
Oh,
in my
wow.
20s, yeah.
How'd that feel? It's been
Terrifying.
Terrifying, yeah, right.
But also fun and
Yeah.
exciting, and but tremendously awkward because each night I'd have to come back to my house with my dad, who I'd just come out to, and him. I was worried, like, because I didn't tell him.
You were dating?
I know. I told him I was going to this group, but I didn't tell him I was dating anyone. It was always just
By the way,
friends.
Dad.
Yeah, I was like, enough.
You can handle
Yeah.
everything
I'm sneaking
else.
out of the house now to go on a date with a guy.
And he's black.
Right,
What?
exactly.
What?
That would have been a double whammy. Yeah, so that went on for a couple months, and then I went back to USC, and then it ended.
What did you study at USC?
Journalism.
Okay, so you knew you wanted to be a writer.
No, well, so I did know I wanted to be a writer, but I actually applied to the film school at first and didn't get in. I wanted to be a TV writer. I wanted to write for soap operas. I wanted to write for Melrose Place. I wanted to
They could
be
have
a
used
TV
it.
writer.
They could have used it.
And I didn't get accepted. But my heart was still in going to LA, and I didn't want to give that up. So I started
Getting far away
from
New Jersey.
But also Hollywood. I wanted to go to Hollywood. I wanted to go Hollywood. I wanted to pursue my TV dreams.
Break through that TV screen and then say,
Yeah.
wow, this is so cool. I get like that sometimes. I'll go to like an awards thing or a premiere or something. I'm like, I can't believe I'm here.
Uh-huh.
I'll meet this person or that person. I totally get starstruck. Still, absolutely.
When was the last time you got starstruck?
Oh gosh, who did I? Well, last night Deborah and I went to dinner with some friends, and we went to a show afterwards. But right after dinner, Deborah goes, "I didn't want to say it during dinner, but at 2 tables down was J.J. Abrams."
What?
And I go, "What exactly?"
Have you ever
didn't
met
tell
J.J.?
me?" No. And I was like, "Oh man," she was afraid I was going to annoy him or something.
No, so I'm friends with JJ.
You are?
I am. That wouldn't have annoyed him. He would have really enjoyed that.
I'm going to
Just
tell
in the
her.
future. I think not to say that everyone listening to this should race up to JJ if you see him in public.
Right,
but,
having dinner, no less.
Yeah, maybe not in the middle of dinner, but he's so cool. He's so
Yeah.
nice.
I think he's from Long Island too, isn't he?
I don't know. Is he?
From? I thought so. But I'm a huge JJ. Tell him I'm a huge fan. Tell me Jay says hey.
I'll get right on that.
So that was, I didn't get to see him, but I got starstruck at the idea of him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I remember. I haven't seen anybody in a while, a long time. But I get excited. Even like comic book guys that I meet.
Yeah.
I get excited about those guys. And
I always got excited growing up about not more, but in equal measure to folks behind the scenes as in front of the camera. Like when I was a fan of Felicity, that's how I met JJ for the first time.
Great show.
And I was just as excited to meet Carrie as I was JJ.
I love Carrie Russell.
Yeah.
Love Carrie Russell. Deborah's jealous of her because I love her so much.
Yeah. Is she your one? Like your one big celebrity crush?
Well, she's my longest celebrity
Have you ever
crush.
met her?
I've never met her.
Okay.
Deborah was on the same plane with her once, and she was like, "She's perfect." And she got like that. But I've had a crush on her since Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, and then I've just followed her because we're about the same age, and yeah, I've had crushes on other celebrity girls. Alyssa Milano.
Okay.
Had a phase with her. Had a phase with Alicia Silverstone.
What boy has not had an Alyssa Milano phase?
I don't know, and maybe you. Probably.
Well, yes. What straight boy?
Oh, I see. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was head over heels for them. And Carrie Russell, I still go, oh, she's so cute. Mm-hmm. Carrie Russell, she's great. So I still have a crush on her.
Yeah, she's also really down to earth and very cool.
If you see her, tell her to say hey.
I will. I was in an episode of Felicity. I mean,
Were you?
It's not on IMDb. Although I never actually and I'll never forget this, and I'll never let Scott Foley forget it because he directed the episode I was in. He cut me out.
Oh, maybe that. I don't think you're on IMDb.
No, I am.
You
It's
are?
in
Okay.
there. I believe it's in there.
Missed it. I missed
I believe it's in there. Because you see my arm in it. So literally, I was sitting next to Kerry at Felicity's graduation.
Yeah.
Literally sitting next to her at a graduation. I was like, "There's no way they can cut me out." Scott Foley found a way to cut me out.
Yeah. I was
And
an
I
extra.
never let him forget it.
I was an extra in True Blood,
Uh-huh.
and I was sitting next to Deborah, and they practically cut me out because it's.
What was this scene like?
It was she was going to like a college.
Yeah.
And she was gonna talk to this professor. So she came in as like a student, and she sits down, and she's like sort of getting his attention by being a little flirty from afar. And I'm sitting next to her.
Uh-huh.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That was kind of.
It's a horrible thing to find out when I remember when I got the DVD and I put it in and I was watching it. I couldn't always like excited anticipation getting to my scene and then nothing.
I like Scott Foley. I met him.
I liked him.
Yeah, you liked him
before that.
Before that, he hasn't done that to me yet, so I still like him. But he was on True Blood for a season. I got to meet him. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's not
so
cutting
hard.
you out of episodes.
You're hurt. Do you watch TV sometimes and still have fantasies of acting or anything like that?
No. No, I don't really have fantasies of acting. No, not really. The thing I loved about acting more than acting itself was the relationships, the camaraderie, especially when you are doing a play.
Yeah.
And you're sort of in the trenches with these same people for such a concentrated period of time. You know, you form bonds and they become like your family. I know it's a cliche to say, but it's true. I more than anything loved just showing up at the theater and hanging out with the cast backstage. And you know, that was some of my favorite memories from my little mini acting stint.
Do you see a lot of plays? You live in New York.
Nope. I don't.
You don't have time. You're watching
I wish
TV.
I could say that. It's not because I don't have time.
Well, why?
So I have really bad luck with going to theater and being seated near or around people who are rude and obnoxious and end up ruining the experience for me.
Are you sensitive about? I'm sensitive about that. I'm
like crinkling candy wrappers,
or just playing with the playbill.
Yes.
Or
something fidgety.
Chewing gum.
Chewing gum is another one. And then, the big one is just talking throughout a production. I can't tell you how many shows I was so excited to go see that were absolutely ruined for me.
Yep.
Because of that.
Yep.
And now I've just stopped going. And it's sad. I'll go for like a big, I went to see Hamilton.
Yeah.
I had to go see Hamilton and, and it's worth the risk, right. And I'll hope, and that was fine. No one was really rude during that.
Because they all paid $1,000 for a ticket. So
yeah, but even honestly, even that doesn't really stop people.
Yeah.
But it became so disheartening, especially to shell out that kind of money, and then have a night be ruined.
I know.
For my 30th birthday. No, was it my 40th birthday? I had this whole big weekend planned with my family and my late husband Kit. I had a whole weekend planned where I got reservations at my favorite vegetarian restaurant, and then we were going to go see Rock of Ages, which is just a guilty pleasure show, which I loved. I saw it once, and I knew my brothers would love it too growing up in the 80s.
Who's in that?
Who was in that? Constantine Morales from American Idol. Yeah. But it was just a soundtrack of our youth.
Yeah, me too.
And and I knew it would be a fun thing to see. And then the next night I had like a party for myself, so I had a whole 40 blowout weekend. We went to Rock of Ages, and there was this couple sitting directly in front of us who literally talked throughout the entire show, like, and loud and big. And again, I know that it's not like this was some quiet play. I mean, there is
Still.
audience participation, people getting into it, but they were so obnoxious,
Yeah.
as if they were in the theater by themselves, that it ruined
Yeah.
the experience for me. I was so looking forward to it.
I went to see Bill Irwin and this other guy. So him and this other guy do like a clowning type of physicality type of show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in New York, right? Yeah. And Deborah was with me, and we were in the second row. And she's a big Bill Irwin fan, and I love Bill Irwin too, so we're excited to be there. And there's a couple of guys who are up to no good, started making trouble in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're sitting right in front of me and Deborah. They're talking the entire time of the first act.
Mm.
And towards the was it the first act? Maybe it's towards the end of the first act. I tap them on the shoulder. I go, "Excuse me, can you stop talking, please?" And do you ever do that? Do you do stuff like that?
So yes, I do it, and it's a mixed bag because sometimes it makes the situation worse.
Yeah, it can. In this situation, the guys were really interesting. They slumped down in their seats, completely it's a comedy show. They are not laughing. They're not having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they either didn't come back for the second half, or they did, and they didn't talk, but they just slumped down and just were having a miserable time. They were just miserable. And I'm like, why are you here? If you're so miserable, just get out. You have an active. You just get up and leave. It's fine.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Happens in movies too. Thank God for the Alamo Drafthouse.
Thank you.
I wish there were more of them in Manhattan.
Thank
I haven't
you.
been to the
LA.
one in Brooklyn. Right, there's one in Brooklyn
Yep.
now. So
I've been there 100 times already.
I have not been there, but I'm going to start going there because I went my first trip to Austin. I introduced me to the Alamo Drafthouse, and it was like, oh my God, I've been looking for this place all my life.
It takes away the anxiety of going to a movie.
It's incredible. It was I saw Kit and I went to Austin to visit the set of Friday Night Lights when I was working for TV Guide, and we had this big Austin weekend, and we saw 2 movies in Austin that weekend at Alamo Drafthouse. One of them was Zombieland, and it was so much fucking fun.
Yeah.
To not have to worry about that.
I love it.
It's like someone gets it. They get it. They get how horrible this plague of
I'll say
annoyances.
this. Sometimes the workers will be in the back and they'll be whispering to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna put a stop to that.
Really? The Alamo Drafthouse workers?
Yeah, they're in the back, and it says it's a quiet. When you walk back there, it says
need to shut that shit down.
Yeah. And I called them actually to complain about. I went to see a movie, and this woman had bracelets on. And so every time she'd go to get popcorn, it's like somebody jingling keys.
Gotta shut that shit down right away.
And I wrote on the card that there's a person in front of me that has noisy jewelry. They didn't do anything about it, so I had to call the next day.
You got a refund or something?
No, but I complained about it. I said, you guys got to do something about the jewelry stuff.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Deborah did a play in L.A. a couple of years ago, and I went to see it like 6 times or something. And one of the times I saw it, there was a woman there. It was around Christmas time. There was a woman there with a necklace filled with at least 60 tiny jingle bells during a play. So you could imagine sitting there watching the play and hearing Santa Claus sitting right behind you.
Can I just say, Broadway is somewhat culpable here. In the beginning of every show, they make such a point about everyone shutting off their cell phones, silencing their cell phones. They do not make a point of telling people not to talk. Yeah. And if you have candy wrappers, please wait till intermission. Like, I feel like they could get up there and really make a statement before a performance and letting people know. I'm not saying it'll erase all of people's bad behavior, but it could put a dent in it.
Yeah.
Like, really do like a Alamo Drafthouse kind of thing where just come out really strong against not just cell phones.
You gotta shame everybody.
Yes.
You have to.
I feel like that would help, and they have not done that.
No. Come on, Broadway.
I'd like to go back and see a Broadway show. I'd like to see Evan Hansen.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm scared that I'm going to get into a brawl with someone. Because what the problem is, and then we can get off this subject, but the problem is, because I have so much baggage about this issue, when an incident happens, it's not about just that one incident. It's about all the incidents that came before.
Yeah.
So it's almost irrational, the level of anger that builds up inside of me.
I get it.
And then it just snowballs, and then that's all I think about, and then
Me
it's
too.
all ruined.
Me too. Me too. Ah! What are we gonna do? Let's start a.
So I'm gonna go to the theater
foundation.
with you, and you're gonna just become like sort of my bouncer.
I'll do
You're
it.
gonna be the one who's like the bad cop.
I'll do
And
it.
shut it down. That's because that's what I need. I just because I don't want the responsibility of having to police the
I know.
situation.
I hate it too. I'm always the guy.
On top, well then I'm not going to go with you. And I need someone who's not going to care. Someone who's going to go and just be like, just shut it down.
I went to a concert, even a concert. Okay.
Oh no, that happens to me too.
I went to a concert. I forget who was playing, and there's a woman behind me. It's making me crazy, and I'm. I think I might be with Deborah, and she gets really. I make her very anxious. She does not like that stuff at all.
Yeah.
Like me saying something to somebody, she does not like it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to say anything. And thank God there was a guy behind me that said, hey, can you shut up? You're talking through the whole thing. I'm trying to listen to the show. She did. She shut up. And I wanted to kiss that man.
You should have thanked him.
I should have.
Or bought him some popcorn.
I wanted to, but I was like, I'm going to thank him. After this is over, I'm going to try to find, but he was gone in a flash. But I was like, thank you. Wherever you are, sir, thank you. Doing God's work.
We need to stop suffering in silence. You're right. There is some kind of committee.
We're not alone.
We're not alone.
Mike. Son of a bitch. I went to the iPic the other night.
I don't know what that is.
It's a new theater in Fulton Street area. Area.
First of all, theater or movie theater?
Movie theater.
Movie theaters in Manhattan suck. Can we just say that?
Yes.
The LA movie-going experience is so much more phenomenal, so much more advanced.
I hated
New
going
York,
to
it's
movies
like
here.
the dark ages.
I hated going to the movies here until, Nighthawk's pretty good. Nighthawk, have you gone to Nighthawk in Brooklyn? It's like Alamo.
Okay.
And Alamo's been great.
Where's the Alamo one in Brooklyn?
Oh, the Calb stop on 2-3. Or on the Q.
I need to get out of my Manhattan bubble.
All right, so I'm going to talk about iPic. Okay. So I was really excited about going to iPic. iPic is a movie theater, and it is first class. Like, you look at it, it looks first class. And they promote the food being great. They have actual chefs there. Alamo, the food at Alamo is...
it's bar food, right? Isn't it like just sort of bar food?
It's okay. It's not great. It's not great. I've had a lot of stuff there, and I'm like, this is kind of close. But whatever. The priority for me is comfort watching the movie. That's my priority. I don't care about food. So, but the food at this iPic is pretty good, I have to say. We ordered a bunch of stuff. It's pretty good. When we first get there, we have the waitress, and I say, how are you guys with the talking and stuff here? Yeah. And she goes, what do you mean? And I go, uh-oh, what do you mean, what do I mean? You should know what I mean. And I go, well, if people are talking, do you like stop them and stuff? And she's like, she was very wishy-washy about it. And I go,
that's your answer right there.
Oh, no. So during the movie, we watched Kong Skull Island.
Okay.
And it's very comfortable. You get to put your seat all the way. It's like
I've heard about these in LA. There's something like this exists in LA.
There's something in Pasadena.
I haven't been to it. Like lounged.
Similar.
Yeah, you're lounging back. Okay.
Which is great too. So you get to put your seat back like a business class type of seat. And it's very comfortable. The food's very good. But again, I'm hearing workers talking through like almost the whole movie. And then I think there were a couple other people talking, and I just didn't feel like I could say anything to anybody. And on top of all that, all right, so first they were there to see Kong Skull Island. They start playing the movie. They play the first like 6 minutes of Darker Shades of Grey.
Okay.
By accident. Yeah. Okay, that's kind of funny. They come out, apologize.
6 minutes of it?
Yeah, like at least 5 minutes of it.
How did it get that deep into it before that someone...
The lights came on. It just took them a while for somebody to run up to the projector, I guess, or whatever. So, okay, fine. At the end of the movie, there's an end credit scene of Kong Skull Island. But the credits start going up, and now the lights go up, and the workers start cleaning up. And then their music comes on during the credits. Like, through their speakers. Their music is playing.
What?
And I'm going, what the fuck? There's one more scene. The movie's not over. So I'm like, or maybe they'll turn the music down when the scene comes up. They don't. So now the last scene is playing with this music. I could barely understand what they're saying, and because this music is playing so loudly, and the lights are all up, you can I was like, that's fucked up. And by the way, the movie ticket price is twice as much as Alamo.
So I'm not going to iPick.
Yeah, you gotta get your shit together. And the next day they sent me an email of like, how
Oh,
was your
you
thing?
went off on
And I
them.
went off. I went off. I won't have it.
Wow, you and I are very much alike on this topic.
Thank you.
I
Thank
feel
you.
less alone today.
I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully somebody listening feels our
Hopefully,
pain.
we start a movement.
Where's our march? Where's our march?
Seriously.
We'll march to the
Gotta get
movie
on this.
theaters. All right, I feel good venting about that stuff.
Yeah, good.
You know
I'm
what I
glad
mean?
I could help.
Thank you. What do your brothers do? Not in
My
movies. I mean, just in work.
my older brother Pete works in the sports memorabilia
Sports memorabilia. Okay.
business,
Huh. Interesting.
and my brother David has a government job.
Well, okay. Can you be not any more specific than that?
I don't want. That's
Okay.
not. Yeah, but he has a
Okay.
government job.
Does he live in D.C.?
Yeah, just outside.
Just outside. Okay.
Yeah.
Republican.
No, independent. I think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but we all grew up, our whole family very conservative.
Yeah.
And then we all, I think in large part because of me.
Yeah.
Being gay.
Yeah.
All moved to the left. Much
Okay.
liberal Democrat.
Yeah. That's
for the most part, but I don't know if I don't know if either brother identifies as Democrat, but they're very liberal.
okay. When Trump got elected, did you have a feeling he might?
No,
You thought for sure. I was kind of convinced he wouldn't.
I mean, I was convinced
hilarious.
that was a devastating.
But when he got the top in the Republican camp, I was like, "Uh-oh, how the fuck did that happen? That wasn't supposed to happen."
Yeah.
And I got a little nervous.
No, I right, until like an hour into election night, there was no way in hell that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it did.
Have you gone to marches and stuff? Have you
I
done
went to
any
the
of that
Women's
stuff
March.
in DC or
No,
New
here
York?
in the city.
Yeah.
Which was incredible and empowering, and made me. You talk about feeling less alone.
Yeah.
That certainly, lifted my spirits and made me feel some sense of hope.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back to you graduated college. Well, I guess you graduated late because you took a semester off.
Well, I ended up taking 2 semesters off.
Okay.
Because then when my dad died, there was no one to run the family business at all.
Okay.
So I took another semester off of school, came back, ran the family business. So it was a year. It took, but I ultimately went back to USC, got my diploma, and so it was 5 years college instead of 4 because of that.
Okay. By the way, it's a terrible segue. How did your parents meet? Do you have any idea?
I think it was just a blind date, I believe, or through mutual friends that turned into like a date, something like that. Like their paths weren't like crossed, or they weren't traveling in the same circles. So
Were they young when they married?
well, my mom was 27, my dad was 29 or
That's
30.
not too young.
I guess it's not too young.
That's not too young,
Yeah.
really. I was talking to somebody the other day. They were like high school. And they knew each other their whole lives or something, and they finally got married in like 20 or 21 or 22, something like that. Okay, interesting. All right. So you're done with college, finally. Are you working during college? Besides your family business?
So when I was out in LA, I was working. I had a work-study job. I worked like administration at the University of the School of Architecture at USC.
Okay.
Just administration. But then my last year of college, I had a paid internship at Entertainment Tonight, which was
Oh yeah, that's cool.
incredible.
Yeah,
like,
why?
Literally, oh my God. Just working on the Paramount lot.
Yeah.
As a kid who dreamed of going to Hollywood.
Did you feel like I'm doing it? I'm doing it.
Oh, I absolutely felt that way. I could not believe it. I literally kissed the ground. Okay, not literally, figuratively kissed the ground every day I walked onto that lot. And I worked in public relations at Entertainment Tonight. And it was incredible, and I was good at it, and it was just the best thing that ever happened at the time.
at the time.
Yeah.
How long did you do that for?
So I interned there for about a year, and then I got a job after college. They hired me,
Wow. Wow.
which was also incredible. Like I was on my way, it was like this is happening, um, and then 4 or 5 months into having that job, I was now living in LA after I had my own apartment. I was working at Entertainment Tonight. I was like riding high, all of this stuff. I was fired from Entertainment Tonight.
What?
A new producer came in, and there was they cleaned house.
Were you there? Who was anchoring when you were there?
John Tesh and Mary Hart.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
back in the classic.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's 90s, I guess, right?
yeah, 90s. Yeah. So,
Like, no, we gotta get Nancy O'Dell and
yeah,
Lisa Gibbons in
oh,
here.
it's such a different show now. So yeah, so I lost my job. Just with a cleaned house, and I lost my job, and so now I'm living in LA, no job, no parents to help me.
To help you pay for stuff, you mean?
Support me,
Support you.
yeah, emotional support,
Right.
financial support.
Time to grow up.
So I grew up
Yeah.
grew up really quick. But I ended up working for a nonprofit after Entertainment Tonight, also in PR, the Gay and Lesbian Center in LA.
Oh.
Totally switching gears away from entertainment. But I had I had a contact that I met through Entertainment Tonight, who did PR at the Gay and Lesbian Center, and there was a job opening for like a, you know, um, you know, publicity assistant, media relations assistant at the Gay and Lesbian Center, and I was like, well, this sounds interesting. It's not really what I want to do long term, but it could be, socially, it could be great for me to be in this environment and to meet new people, because I was still coming out to a degree, still coming into myself as a gay man, and also figuring out what it is I wanted to do. So I worked there for about a year and a half, and it was an incredible experience of just growing and making friendships that I still have to this day, including my boss Jim Key, who still works there. And but it paid nothing. Like literally, it paid nothing. I was making $24,000 a year, and after taxes, you can imagine what that was.
Oh, I know what that was.
I was living in an apartment in Hollywood, $400 a month.
Ooh,
Roach
that's pretty
infested
good.
apartment.
Yeah, it must be a shithole.
It was a shithole.
Yeah,
And like in Hollywood, it's like it's cooler now, but back then Hollywood, it was still like, hearing gunfire in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So I was living in a shithole, driving with no car insurance. Like literally, I was broke. But I enjoyed what I was doing, and I enjoyed the people I met. But it wasn't a good life. And I on the side started freelancing for a soap opera publication in New Jersey called Soap Opera Update. It doesn't exist anymore. And I loved it. I was like covering soaps, going to soap events and stuff, like on my own time on the weekends or whatever. And that same company that owned Soap Opera Update launched another magazine called Soaps in Depth, and they were staffing up, and I got a job offer, and this is back in New Jersey, just outside of New York in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. They offered me a job as a senior news editor, and I took it, and I left LA, moved back to New Jersey.
New Jersey, wow.
Lived in Bloomfield, New Jersey, which is near Montclair.
This is the end of the 90s now?
This is the end of the 90s.
Okay.
Like 97. I think it was 97, 98, 97, 98.
Well, how were you experiencing, like, especially at Entertainment Tonight, you were probably meeting celebrities and stuff like that, right? People you were fans of, maybe?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Starstruck left and right. It was
really?
Incredible. It was incredible. Just walking around the lot.
Yeah.
Just going to the commissary.
Yeah.
It was really...
Anybody stick out for you right now?
Let me think. God, I don't remember. I know there were a couple commissary sightings. It's so funny. I don't remember at this time.
That's okay.
I wasn't a big Star Trek fan, but I always saw like aliens walking around the Star Trek lot. I mean, the Paramount lot, which was always cool. But
that's funny.
Yeah.
So all right. So you worked at Soaps in Depth.
Yeah.
For what, a couple of years?
3 years. 3 years.
2000, you got
TV Guide. I worked. Then when I went to TV Guide in 2000.
in 2000.
Yeah.
When did you do Entertainment Weekly?
Entertainment Weekly was 2008.
Afterwards. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, mix it up. Okay, it was TV Guide. Could you do TV Guide from Jersey, or did you have to move again?
I did. I commuted. So I lived in New Jersey. I commuted to Manhattan. Yeah. So I kept my Bloomfield apartment and started commuting into Manhattan for the first time. And yeah, and then I eventually bought a place in Manhattan and lived, just a couple blocks away from TV Guide's offices.
And when you bought a place in Manhattan, did you have a heart attack from the prices of buying something in Manhattan?
Can I just tell you? No. Do you know what I bought my first apartment for? And I feel like I'm 80 years old when I tell this story because I can't believe how and you have if you saw the apartment you get it because it was a tiny little studio in Hell's Kitchen, but $130,000.
That's good for that.
Yes.
That would go for $1 million now, probably.
Not $1 million, but it would go for a lot more than $130,000.
Yeah.
But for me at that time, that was a lot, and I could get a lot more for that money in New Jersey for sure.
Yeah.
But I had just met Kit, and he lived in Manhattan, and my life was now in Manhattan because he was there, and my job was in Manhattan. It didn't make sense for me to live in New Jersey anymore.
Sure, it was worth it.
It was totally worth it, and
you bought it you owned it.
I owned it.
Wow.
So because I had a little bit of a nest egg that I started to save up, and my grandmother helped me out with the rest of it because the thing about apartments in New York, they're all co-ops, most of them, and you have to put 20% down, and that's $26,000 I had to come up with.
Yeah.
So my grandmother helped me out a little bit, and then I bought this little studio.
Did she know you were gay?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, that's nice.
She was awesome.
Was your mom's mom or?
My mom's mom.
Mom's mom.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. She's still around?
No, she passed away too.
And my grandparents are passed away too. Okay. All right. Cool. So now you're at TV Guide. You met Kit. How'd you meet Kit?
We met at Webster.
By the way,
Hall.
what's Kit short for?
Christopher.
Kit.
Kit was just a nickname.
Did you date him because it reminded you of Knight Rider?
No, but we got that a lot. Mike and Kit.
I thought it was so.
Mike and Kit.
Oh, Michael and Kit. Oh,
it was perfect.
My God.
Seriously.
I didn't even put that together.
It's like people would bungle Kit's name all the time. They call him Kip. And his response to that was, no, Kit and Mike, just like Knight Rider. He would literally tell everyone that if they fucked up his name.
That guy just died.
David Hasselhoff died?
No.
Oh my God.
The voice...
I need to go. We got to cover that story on TV.
No, the voice of Kit.
That guy. I think I heard that.
That guy passed away from Boy Meets World too and stuff like that.
You're
not that impressed by that.
No, not really. So Knight Rider. So Kit and I met at Webster Hall. And
what was going on there?
An event called the Gay Sports Ball.
Okay.
Which it was an annual thing that I think maybe lasted 1 or 2 years, but it was right after 9/11.
Gay Sports Ball?
Yeah. So I'll explain what this is.
Okay, yeah.
But it was right after 9/11.
Okay.
And and I get into this in the book. But I wasn't really going out after 9/11. I was depressed. Everybody was depressed. No one wanted to be going out. And then I heard about this event, Gay Sports Ball, happening. I was like, Gay Sports Ball? It sounds like there'll be a lot of hot guys there. So my friend Matt and
gay sports guys?
Yeah, a lot of gay athletes. So my friend Matt and I went to the Gay Sports Ball, which was basically a opportunity for the gay athletic organizations in New York to spread information about their groups. So you want to go play gay baseball? Here's some information on that. You want to go play gay volleyball? So it's just like a little mini convention, little tables with pamphlets, and hot guys handing out the pamphlets.
Okay.
And then it was also there was also a dance element to it. So of course there was. It's a gay event. So it was like there was this convention aspect of it, and then if you go upstairs to Webster Hall, there's dancing and drinking and all of that.
All right.
And that's where
fun.
I met Kit at this event.
Okay, what was he doing there? Was he like you, just showing up?
Just chilling out. He
wasn't handing out pamphlets or anything?
No, he was not a gay athlete. He was just
was he there to
an
pick
admirer
up?
of gay athletes.
Was he like you? Like maybe there'll be hot people there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys found each other.
We did.
That's nice. Just ran into each other. Just said hi.
So there was the gay organization in Morristown I told you about.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who I had met through the 20-something support group, not the guy I dated, but someone else.
Hmm.
I ran into him, and he was with Kit. They were friends.
Okay.
So when I went up to say hi to my friend, Nate was his name. I was like, "Hey, Nate! Oh my God, what a small world!" Blah blah blah. Nate was with a small gaggle of guys. One of them was Kit. And
did you spot him out immediately?
Instantly.
Instantly.
And vice versa.
That's
That
nice.
was it.
That's nice. When you were a heavy kid, when did you lose the weight? Because you are not at all heavy now.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
I lost the weight a year after my mom died. So
high school still.
yes, high school.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
I started with Slim Fast.
No kidding. Slim Fast. I have food problems myself. I struggle with my weight all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So Slim Fast. So wait, that's a shake.
Shake for
in
breakfast,
lieu-
a shake for lunch, a sensible dinner. So I was doing that in
did
high
that.
school. It was
How'd you find the I don't know the discipline to do that after 16 years or whatever it's been of
just got tired of being fat.
yeah.
Just hit me. Was eating my birthday cake at my grandmother's house. It was my 17th birthday, and I was eating this piece of cake, Carvel ice cream cake, and literally in that moment, I was like, "This is it. I'm gonna finish this piece of cake, and I'm done."
Wow.
And literally the next day,
Slim Fast.
Slim Fast started, and that was the end of it. I started losing weight, and slowly came off. And in college, more of it came off. And that,
You kept it off.
yeah. I mean, so I struggle with weight too. So I've never really, just like you never really get over being bullied. I've never gotten over being fat.
Right.
So every day is a struggle. I struggle with food, and I feel like I'm always like one meal away from being fat Mike again.
Do you ever?
But for the most part, yes, I've kept it off. I fluctuate maybe 5 or 10 pounds every once in a while, but no.
That's really good. That's really good. I go down spirals sometimes where I'm like for months and I'll just be like, all right, tomorrow I'll get back on it, but today I'm going for it, and then that today lasts weeks or months.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you can it can snowball. It's like one day becomes 2 days, and that's where I won't let it get that far though.
That's good. Good for you. Do you exercise too?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to run a lot.
Me too.
I don't anymore because I hurt myself. And
what'd you do?
Just knees? I wasn't stretching enough, so I had developed back problems because of my running.
Yeah.
And so now I just do elliptical and weights and stuff like that. I need to do more weights though. And yeah.
Yeah.
The elliptical's getting boring.
Yeah. Well, good for you for
Thanks.
doing all that. That's good. Okay. So you meet Kit. You guys are goo goo gaga over each other. Is it? Do you start talking there?
Mm-hmm.
And you ask each other out. What's the exchange numbers?
Yeah. So yes, we exchanged numbers, and then we went on our first date.
Where was the first date?
Where?
Yeah. Where was it?
I don't want to get too much into this because this is a lot about what the book is.
Okay. Because you wrote a book called Spoiler Alert: The Hero Dies.
Yes.
Which you spent. How long did it take you to write the book?
19 months.
That's a long time. Is it like you're a very good, disciplined guy, it seems like. Is it like a daily thing?
No, so it can't be a daily thing.
Okay.
Because I have a full-time job, a very demanding full-time job, running TV line. So it became a weekend thing. So for 19 months, I did nothing on the weekends except for work on this book, and had no life. And so my week was TV line. My weekends were writing this book. And so I was just sort of tuned everything out, and my Saturdays and Sundays just became about writing, and it was hard.
Yeah, I bet. Was there a point of like you thought, oh, I don't know if I could do this?
Oh yes, every weekend.
Really?
Every weekend. So I mean, the folks don't know. So Kit died of cancer as well. And
you were married.
2 years ago, we were married. We were together for 13 years, and he developed a very rare neuroendocrine cancer,
Is
In
that genetic? Oh
no,
no,
not genetic. It's just rare
mutation or
fluke.
something.
Yeah, just bad luck. And was diagnosed in 2014 and
Wow,
died 11 months later.
it's fast.
It was quick.
And he tried chemo and all that stuff
Yeah,
too.
chemo, radiation, the whole thing. We knew it was a rough one.
Yeah,
We were given, we were told that, well, we were told a lot of things early on,
yeah.
but we knew it wasn't good. So anyway, so yeah, so the book, so he died, and several months later, um, an editor, Rakesh, from Simon & Schuster, reached out to me and asked if I thought I might be up for writing a book about it, because I had been chronicling
Hmm.
his uh, our battle with this, mostly his, but mine too, on Facebook.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. We're Facebook friends, and I would read some of that,
yeah,
and it was beautifully written and very open and honest, and I really appreciated how open you guys were about it.
thank you.
You know.
So, Rakesh read these Facebook posts. He was also one of a Facebook friend, although
Hmm.
we didn't really know each other that well. But we had mutual friends, and uh, he reached out to me several months after Kit died, and said, "I think you might have a book here. Would you be interested in writing it?" And the last thing I wanted to do was dive back into
Yeah.
all of this. But at the same time, what an incredible opportunity, you
Well,
know.
you talked about earlier, um, growing up. You thought after your mom died that you all should have had therapy. Do you do therapy now,
Oh
or have you ever
yes,
had therapy?
yeah,
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
What? How long have you been doing therapy for?
For my whole adult life,
Oh,
I
really?
started at USC
Okay.
with a counselor on campus, and then it has continued different therapists over the years. But I've had the
Yeah.
same one now for 13 years.
13
And
years.
well, it was our couples counselor actually.
Wow.
I had individual therapy, but Kit and I were in couples counseling for most of our relationship, um, mostly for maintenance. It was a
Yeah.
great opportunity for check-in.
Yeah. Me and Deborah have
Um,
done that too.
but Tony is his name, um, and now Tony is my individual therapist.
Hmm. And okay, so he approaches you with the idea of the book, and you're like, oh no. And what made you go, okay, I'll give it a shot? Do you say
Um,
like, all right, well, let me try it, but I can't make promises or anything like that?
Initially, it was he let me. I was. I kind of knew that it was something I had to do. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
For yourself.
yeah. I just, and I knew that there was a story here. Like I believed in it. Really, the only thing was, can I do it justice? And also emotionally, am I up for the up to the task? I just went through 11 months, the hardest 11 months of my fucking life,
Mm.
and do I have it in me to rip off that band-aid and dive back in and all that stuff. So I put it
And
out.
it's pretty soon,
Yeah.
after all that
Well,
stuff.
and at the same time, I mean, to me, if I was going to do it, it had to be soon. Well, stuff was still fresh in my mind because
Mhm.
besides the Facebook stuff, it's not like I was keeping a daily diary or anything.
Right.
So in terms of just my recall, I felt like if I'm going to do it, I need to do it right away while the memories are still fresh, while I still have access to specific things. Because the further I get away from it, I think the harder it's going to be to do. So I put an outline together, um, and uh, I think within a month we had a deal, and ultimately, I was like, I'll do it. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I'll be able to get through it. I may in a month into it say, sorry, can't do it.
Yeah.
But
Well, did you have outs like that? Did they?
in the contract,
Yeah.
no, we
No.
didn't really have an out.
Okay.
And I think part of it, I don't know if such outs exist.
Okay.
But also, I didn't want to give myself an out. I
Okay.
felt like I honestly, the fact that I had a contract, a binding legal contract, was motivation for me to push through during the hard times. When I had those moments where I was just like, I can't do this. I remember, oh, right? I signed a contract. People are counting on this. People are depending on this. But more than anything, I'm depending. I need to do it.
Yeah.
I need to do it for me and for Kit. To be honest, it's just a wonderful opportunity to pay tribute to him and to let people know more about him, and I can't pass it up. So,
do they give you a time limit?
just because,
Like
you
have
have
2 years.
to, yeah. So they put it on me. That was like, how long do you need? That was all up to me. They weren't like, we need this in a year.
Right.
But I was like, I'm gonna deliver it in a year because I don't know that I can do this for much more than a year. So it's like, I'll have this done in a year. Didn't have it done in a year.
Right.
So the deadline kept getting pushed back, and
they were cool about it. They were understanding about that stuff.
Absolutely understanding. They knew that this was not going to be an easy process for me.
Yeah, I'm sure they've dealt with stuff like that before.
Yeah, no, they were totally accommodating and very understanding, and so it took about 19 months, and it was hard. It was not an easy process.
How'd you know when you were done?
I knew I was done only recently, honestly, when shortly before I delivered the final manuscript. I knew I was done when I wrote the last chapter, even though it wasn't the last chapter that I wrote. Like, I still had to go back and write other stuff, but I knew once I finished the book, I knew this was happening, that I could do it, because some of the hardest stuff was at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew once I got through that, and once I got that on paper, I knew I was going to be able to get through it.
Did you have help writing it, or was it just you?
So it was me. I hired a writing coach, which is something I didn't know existed.
Me either.
And this.
How'd you know to hire one?
I didn't. I didn't know. I just knew that I needed someone to keep the trains moving, and I knew that would probably be too much of a burden to put on my editor at Simon and Schuster. Mm. I needed someone that I could meet with weekly to go over my writing, to give me feedback, also to check in on me, to be like, do you have any writing this week? So it's great. So I just Googled writing coaches, and it's this whole industry, and there's a lot of options. And I did some speed dating for a couple of weeks, looking for the right person. And
is it expensive? A little pricey, right?
Yeah, it's not terribly expensive.
Yeah,
it's cheaper than therapy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, for 19 months,
Like, so that it wasn't over the long haul. It wasn't the cheapest thing, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
So it was a company called Write by Night is the name of it. WRITE. And David was the coach's name who I worked with, and it was. I don't know that I would have been able to do it. Well, I would have been able to do it without him, but it would have been a much longer process and a much more difficult process. He was awesome, and I would every week, every Friday, we met. We went over the writing that I did, and on the previous weekend, and then I'd have his notes before going into the next weekend, and his feedback was incredible. He was like a therapist in many ways. Because, I mean, the stuff we were talking about was just really personal stuff. Sure. But he would give me notes. He would check in with me to sort of keep me on schedule, and it really was tremendously helpful.
And when you have chapters, then like when does the Simon and Schuster want, or an editor want to see some?
So I sent him every time I had a finished chapter. I'd send it off to
okay. And then would they have feedback as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then would you meet with David and say, this is their feedback, what's your feedback, and try to?
No. I mean the when Rakesh had feedback from Simon and Schuster, I mean I would run it by David, my book coach, but and we would discuss it, but for the most part, I would just go ahead and implement the change, the feedback because I always agreed with the notes that Rakesh had from Simon and Schuster. Okay. I always agreed with It always made sense to me.
Yeah.
And it always made sense to David, my writing coach as well. So there wasn't really much of a debate to be had.
How many pages is it?
Well, I just cut a bunch of it, so
Oh,
it was over 500
Whoa,
pages.
shit.
And again, this is not regular book pages.
Okay.
The font is bigger and there's more spacing, so I don't know what that would translate into regular pages, to be honest with you. I mean, in the end, I'm guessing it'll probably be 300 pages. Like typical memoir length, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, so, were you reading a lot of memoirs also?
No, I read nothing. I didn't want to
Have you
be
in the
influenced
past?
at all. No, not
Really?
I'm not a big reader.
I mean, that'd be very interesting.
No.
And we're gonna watch TV, fry the brain.
Watching too much TV.
Frying the brain. Okay. Well, I don't know. So you don't want to talk too much about what's already in the book, right?
Nah. I don't want to spoil my book.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Well, maybe when it comes out, would you come back?
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about the book and stuff.
That'd be great.
All right. So let's talk more about TV then. All right. So 8 years of TV Guide.
Yeah.
Your job's watching TV.
Yeah, I mean that's a little bit of a misnomer.
What is it? What's you?
You
interviewed.
But yeah, essentially, it's one part of the job. But it's there's a lot. It's people. Oh, you get paid for watching TV. If only it was just that. But
right.
But yes, I guess on one level you could say. That's
well, then what's part of your job is watching TV.
Yes.
Well, and what my point is.
What's your point?
So you're what the fuck? My point is you may be watching stuff you may not choose to watch usually. Or would you, or do you watch
Correct.
everything normally?
No,
anyway?
correct. There are some things I watch out of necessity.
Yeah. Do you have how much do you watch? Do you watch everything?
No.
Back then, even.
Back then, yeah, it was easier to watch everything back then when there was only just like ABC, NBC,
right,
WB, CBS, UPN, and HBO. It was a lot easier. So I watched mostly, not everything, but a lot, percentage-wise, a lot more than I do now.
What did you get to not watch? Like, who decides what you watch and what you don't watch?
Back at TV Guide?
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a mix of what I personally wanted to watch and also what was popular at the time.
Okay.
And stuff that just so I could be part of the conversation, whether I necessarily liked it or not.
Okay. Interesting. And you're a founder and editor-in-chief of TV Line now, right?
Yes.
How'd that happen?
When I was at Entertainment Weekly, Jay Penske, who is the CEO of Penske Media, the parent company of TV Line, he had just acquired Deadline from Nikki Fink at that time when I was at Entertainment Weekly, and he was growing this media empire, and he wanted to start a TV site, like a consumer TV site. And because he had Deadline, the industry, trade, he wanted something more consumer friendly. And he, I guess, heard through the grapevine that, I was, one of the, high profile TV journalists working, and might be someone he should reach out to discuss that possibility. So I was at Entertainment Weekly when he reached out to me, and I think I was 2 years into working at Entertainment Weekly, and I got this email from, I think it was his assistant, saying, Jay Penske. I knew the Penske name, I didn't know Jay. Roger Penske Racing, all that stuff. I knew the Penske trucks.
Right.
But I didn't know who Jay was. I would like to meet with you, talk about opportunities. And I was like, sure, why not? I don't, what harm could come from it? And he told me about this dream he had about having this TV site. Would I be interested in starting it with him? And I said, no, thank you, but no. I have my dream job at Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah.
Literally, my dream job.
It's a great gig. That's how you met Deborah, right? Is during that time
at
Comic-Con or something?
I believe it was either at the tail end of TV Guide or during Entertainment Weekly. Yeah, when I was writing about True Blood.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, who is this actress? She is incredible. Truly. And so I said no. and it was an easy no. It was like I'm not going to walk away from my dream job for something that doesn't exist, or
Right, right.
something that,
A risk.
or yeah, a risk.
Yeah.
That would really live and die by my name alone.
Right.
At least initially, I wasn't willing to take that risk. So I said no, but I was like, let's keep in touch. He seemed, I was intrigued by him, and he was very passionate, and I was, really impressed with what he was doing with Deadline. Um, and so every couple months he would send me an email. He's like, "How are you doing? How are things at Entertainment Weekly? Are you happy?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm happy. Thanks. Thanks for thinking of me." And then, um, so we did that dance back and forth, emails, and then 3 years into Entertainment Weekly, he reached out again, and he was like, "I'm pulling the trigger on this website with or without you. Let's meet and let's have another conversation. Let me know where you're at. Let me know, is there anything I can do to persuade you?"
Mm.
So we met a number of times, and started to.
You really had a vision, and you were included in that
Yes.
vision, no matter what. It seems like.
I was his first choice.
Yeah.
But he was going to start going down the list, I guess. But he wanted to give me one last shot. Entertainment Weekly was still my dream job, and I did not want to leave. But I had to start looking at the big picture, and I had to start looking at where the business was going, and it was all moving digitally,
Right.
and Entertainment Weekly was owned, by Time Inc., which is print-driven company.
Yeah.
And I had already been through a series of layoffs at Entertainment Weekly, and Lord knows I went through a number of them at TV Guide, and I saw where this business was going. So even though I had my dream job, and I was very well taken care of at Entertainment Weekly, treated extremely well, had tremendous access, all of this stuff. I had to think 5, 10 years ahead where the business was going, and and I had to think about the potential of what this website could be, and also it was something that I had an ownership stake in, which was big too. That was something that you're never going to have at Time Inc.
Right.
You're not going to be able to own a piece of something. You're always going to be, making money for someone else.
Yeah, and they'll decide things for you.
Right. So, one of the hardest decisions I ever made.
Yeah.
One of the hardest decisions, and but I took a leap of faith.
It's been working out.
Yeah, so we just had our 6th-year anniversary, and knock on wood, it's going really well, and I have an incredible team, and Jay has been the best boss and has kept every promise he has made to me. So I've never second-guessed or questioned the decision. It was still really difficult to make, but it was without question the right one.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not bad. So you envision staying there for a while and building it up and all that stuff?
Yes, I'm very happy there, and have no plans to do anything else.
What are you watching these days? I mean, everything. But what are you really loving these days?
I'm loving the limited miniseries right now. So Big Little Lies is one of my obsessions on HBO.
I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list.
Feud on FX.
It's on my list.
Because
you get to see everything sooner, right?
Yeah, we get to see a lot of stuff sooner. Not all of them sooner, but we get previews. So I saw like 3 episodes of Big Little Lies before it premiered, so I was already really into it.
Yeah.
The Night Up on HBO, I absolutely
on my list.
Was incredible.
Where do you find the time? Like I struggle with finding time to watch all this stuff.
So I watch a lot of stuff. Went to the gym on the elliptical on my phone.
Yeah. When I was training for marathons, I watched a lot. I went through a lot of TV.
It's a good. How do you mean just so when you're running on the treadmill? Because you can't watch television as you're running
treadmill
on
an iPad treadmill.
Yeah. So there, at night before bed, I'll watch an hour or two of something. I can't watch during the day at work. It's almost impossible to do that. There's too much going on.
Yeah.
Too many emails coming through, news breaking, blah, blah, blah. I can't.
Do you binge? Are you a binger?
I'm not that much of a binger. But
if you get the 3 or 4 Big Little Lies episodes, you watch them all straight through?
Well, I did that just because I had the time. But difficult. It's fine with Netflix and Amazon stuff to binge because you want to be part of the conversation. You want to
Right.
know what everyone's talking about, so it makes sense for you to watch it all up front.
Yeah.
Um, so just so you're in a more knowledgeable position. With you know, like say if ABC were to give me all the whole season of American Crime to watch in advance, that I'm less likely to binge all at once because they unspool once a week.
Yeah.
And you want to sort of be part of that weekly
You
conversation.
want it fresh.
And
in
if
your
you watch
brain,
all
so.
10 episodes up front, you're not going to even remember what's
Yeah.
airing that week.
I get that.
So I like to, like with Feud, I purposely am watching it 1 week at a time.
Okay.
Several of my colleagues watched them in advance, because we did reviews and stuff like that. But I'm choosing to watch that weekly just so I can sort of see what everyone's seeing in real time.
Okay. I'm hearing good things about it.
It's great. The performances are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm glad Ryan Murphy got Jessica Lange back and does something.
Yeah, and Susan Sarandon is really great in it too. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to keep an open mind with her because we have some political differences.
Right.
I have a little bit. I'm still in a little bit of a animosity toward her or some of her politics this past election season. But honestly, when she shows up on screen, it's like I forgot all about it. I'm like, what politics? Bernie Sanders? What?
That's a talent then.
Yeah, seriously, she's phenomenal.
Yeah. So do you watch movies like at home?
Hardly ever.
Hardly ever.
Yeah.
No kidding. So you didn't see Moonlight.
I didn't see Moonlight. I saw Manchester by the Sea. I didn't see La La Land.
Wow.
I know.
See that stuff.
I need to. But also, I was writing on this book, so
know,
weekends were really the time that I would be watching movies, and I was writing this book, so I couldn't do anything.
Have you thought about getting back in the dating pool?
Sure. I have dipped my toe back in the water.
Yeah, a little bit. Are you doing online stuff? Because now it's online stuff.
Yeah,
you're an online guy.
Yeah, I'm on Tinder.
Yeah.
And I'm on Grindr too.
Yeah.
And and it's been challenging.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Just to figure out what my life looks like in that arena after Kit, after being with someone for 13 years, and
how it ended and stuff. It's not like you guys broke up with each other or something,
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in love with him. I still, I still have love of my life, and I didn't choose this. So it's hard. But I've been on some dates, and
But it's good for you though. I mean, you gotta start somewhere. You gotta get out there, and otherwise you could spend the rest of your life alone, and that's so sad too. My aunt is like that. My uncle died. A long time ago now, 20 something years ago, and she never really dated, and she's just been alone the whole time, and it's too bad because maybe if she tried a few years later or something, she could be with somebody. No, she wouldn't be alone. So good for you.
I feel like now that I finished the book, that was also very difficult. The idea of dating, as I was so immersed in this, so immersed in Kit and our relationship, it was very hard to tune that out and to go on a date. I feel like, now that I'm past this part of the process of the actual writing the book, that it might be a little easier for me to entertain what possibilities might be out there.
And I'm sure he'd want you to be happy and with somebody, unless he said, do not ever date anybody else. Just wear black every day.
No, well, Kit that did have a dark, wicked sense of humor, but I know that he would want me to be happy.
Well, he was a talented guy too. He was a photographer, and you did a gallery.
I did.
That I went to, and I got to see some of his work, and you took really beautiful pictures.
He was such a talent, incredible talent, and he was a photographer, and one of the things I struggle with is he left behind such an incredible collection of photography. Not a collection, archive of his own work.
Yeah.
Photography. And that exhibit was an opportunity for me to show off some of his work, but there's so much more of it.
I'm sure. I
And
mean, I have 5,000 pictures of my dog. You know what I mean?
right.
Just that alone. Are you thinking of doing like a coffee table book or
Yes,
something
so I
along
am
those
thinking
lines?
about that
Oh,
again.
cool.
Now that this book is over, I'm talking with his best friend Jen, who is also like a design photography kind of person, um, about possibly some kind of book. Um, but first, I have to find someone who can help me go through all of these
Yeah,
photos
that's
because
a lot of
there's
work.
so much of it. Uh,
That's a lot of
but
work.
yeah, that's
That's your weekends next 2 years.
yeah. Uh, but no, it's on the list without a doubt.
Yeah. You are used to interviewing people.
Mhm.
Is it weird to be interviewed?
It is a little weird, but I enjoy it. I think it helps when you're being interviewed by someone who knows how to interview. You're very
Okay.
good at it,
Oh, thanks.
and it's very comfortable, and it feels more like just a conversation. But it is absolutely it's a little weird to be on the other side.
Yeah, I bet. If you were me interviewing you, what would you ask you that I haven't yet? That's how
Mm,
good of an interviewer I am. I completely muddled that whole question.
um, what? Oh, um, what's up with the Smurfs?
Yeah, what the fuck? What's up with the Smurfs?
It's in the book.
Oh, it is?
Yes,
What do you mean?
it's in the book.
It's a tied to Kit somehow?
It's in the book. The explanation about my obsession with the Smurfs is in the book.
Oh, okay.
I've really never shared it with anyone, but
Oh, really? Yeah, I
um,
loved Smurfs when I was a kid too.
so but
Uh,
it gets into how it started, and uh, also it
if there's a gay
and
Smurf, gay Smurf.
well, Vanity Smurf, I think it's fair to say was gay
Yeah,
Smurf,
there's definitely a gay
uh,
Smurf in there.
but you know there's definitely a tie to Kit in there. It didn't
That is
start with
interesting.
Kit, but Kit was a big part of it
Hmm.
during our relationship. My Smurf collecting was an issue. Let's just say that.
Really? Did
Yes.
you have like the Simpsons? Some people have every Simpsons character. It's like hundreds of Simpsons, and Smurfs were kind of like that too. There was probably 50, 60 Smurf stuff, right? At
More
least
than
more than
more than 56.
that.
Yeah.
A lot of Smurfs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah. So I get into that.
What about the movies? Do you like the movies?
No.
No.
I'm all about the vintage.
Yeah.
Throwback Smurf
Have you
stuff.
tried to watch the movies?
I did. I saw actually the first one I didn't hate.
Yeah.
I was amused by some of the Hank Azaria's Gargamel
Yeah.
was amusing. I thought, and didn't hate it. I didn't see the second one because I heard it was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see the third one. I'm gonna be in LA for the premiere, so I'm gonna go to the third
Oh,
one.
you're going to the premiere.
I'm going to the premiere. Yeah,
Fancy.
It's on a weekend, so I'm gonna go out to
Well,
LA.
is it a are they is it a third like a
No, it's a
sequel or it's a
new-
reboot? Right?
It's a
They're kind
reboot,
of
so
rebooting?
it's there's no live action element to it. It's all just animation,
Oh, okay.
which is
That's
interesting.
better.
Yeah,
That's
I think
better,
it's better. Yeah.
Joe Manganiello's a voice
I
in
know,
it.
hefty. Is it hefty? I think he's hefty.
Something like that. He's a workout.
Yeah,
He's got muscle Smurf.
yeah, hefty Smurf. Yeah, so we'll see if that's any good.
What about? Are you watching superhero shows?
No, don't we? So Matt Midovich and uh, Vlada Gelman and Andy Swift, three of my colleagues at TV Line, they handle most of the superhero stuff.
Okay.
So that frees me up to then watch other stuff.
Other stuff.
So I don't really watch a ton of the superhero stuff. I did watch Jessica Jones, and I loved Jessica Jones. So
Jessica Jones good.
Not a traditional superhero thing. I have not seen Daredevil.
You
My apologies
You
to
might want to
Deborah.
check it. That's pretty good.
Yeah. No,
I
I
like
hear
it.
it's good. It's one of those. It's on the
It's
list.
soap opera-y.
Yeah.
There's soap opera elements to it. You might
Yeah.
appreciate.
Iron Fist is getting really trashed.
I heard.
Wow. Jesus.
But I think it's unfair. I don't know if anybody's like, if you've seen it. I mean, you haven't seen it, or if your guys have seen it yet, or anything like that.
I don't know. We haven't really covered that one too much. But I've been reading some of the reviews and not good.
No. Oh, I hate hearing that because then it's all part of the same Marvel Netflix world. It's all the same.
Yeah, but I mean, God, they have such a great track record, right?
Yeah,
Like
so
every one of
good.
those shows was a home run, pretty much.
So
And
good.
I mean, it was inevitable that one of them was going to be a
Well,
turkey.
we'll see. We'll see how much of a
Ah,
turkey it is. We'll see.
all
I
right.
like Finn Jones.
Yeah,
He's a good dude. I know people worked very hard on it, so
yeah.
I hope it's not as
Bad as people say.
tragic as people
You haven't
say
seen
it
it?
is. I haven't seen any of it. I might go to the premiere next week.
Oh, let me know what you think.
I will. I will. I'm gonna let you know. What do you got going on the rest of the day?
So I have actually some book stuff. So I'm picking the photos for the book. So there'll be some photos in the book. So I'm
Of
good.
like you and Kit and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm going just through the book. I'm reading it again and coming up with because there are a limited number of photos that we can have in the book, and I'm just sort of deciding what works best photo-wise. So that's what I'm doing for.
So when's this book coming out?
September 12th.
You can pre-order it now
Yep.
on Amazon.
On Amazon and all other iTunes, Amazon, whatnot.
Can I make a suggestion? I'm an audiobook listener.
Oh.
I was thinking who might be good to read your book. Maybe Zachary Quinto? Because he reads other books as well on
Does he?
audiobook. Yep.
He's good at it?
He's good. He's got a good voice. He's got a good voice.
Yeah. Yeah,
and I think he likes doing that stuff. So.
Okay. No, thank you for the suggestion.
Just an idea.
I'll look into it.
Just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
If it happens.
He lives in New York. Maybe I'll just bump
me.
into him.
Yeah.
Hey.
You friends?
Zach. We know each other. I wouldn't say we're friends.
He's good on American Horror Story.
He is.
He's good.
He's really good. Yeah, that's interesting.
What are you excited about that's coming out? That's not out yet. What are you excited about?
Oh,
TV wise. What do you want to play? What do you like? I gotta. I'm dying to see this.
Let me think. Oh, Handmaid's Tale on Hulu.
Okay, that's good.
Dark is all get out.
Really?
It's so dark and eerily too real, too close to hitting home life stuff with all this Trump
Oh no,
crap happening.
that's Elizabeth Moss, right?
Elizabeth Moss and Yvonne Strahovski, Alexis Bledel.
Alexis Bledel.
But
Gilmore Girls.
yeah, Gilmore Girls. Yeah,
You were an extra on Gilmore Girls.
I wasn't
You're
a featured.
Featured,
extra
sorry,
in Gilmore
apologies.
Girls.
Did you ever see me on Third Rock from the Sun?
No, were you on it?
I was a featured extra on Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh,
An
congratulations!
episode back in the day.
Which episode? What do you think of Kristen Johnson? She's hilarious.
Oh yeah, she's funny. I haven't seen her in like a million years,
Yeah.
but yeah, she was very. I
Was
saw
she in
her
your
briefly.
scene?
No, I saw her briefly. I met William Shatner, and and I met Chyna, the wrestler, because she was
wow.
there. And
It's a big episode.
Big episode. Met John Lithgow, who was awesome, super awesome.
Mhm.
He was so nice to me. And French Stewart took a picture with me, which is very nice because I won a improv contest in New York.
Oh, okay.
And the prize was getting flown out to LA and being put up, and you get to be a featured extra on Third Rock from the Sun.
Awesome.
And you get to see the rehearsal and stuff too, which I did all that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was psyched. And I was in 3 scenes.
3 scenes.
3 scenes in one episode. I met David DeLuise. He was super nice.
Okay. What's he doing now?
I have no idea. But yeah, so you could kind of see me. It's like the second to last season, and I think the second to last episode. It's a big giant head episode.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you ever watched that show.
I on and off.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
I had an awkward moment with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
That was awkward.
On set.
On
What
set.
happened?
He did his scene, and I was just standing like watching his rehearsal, and he came over to like get a candy from next to me or something. I was like, "Hey, great!" I was like nervous. "Hey, great job!" And I just kind of slapped him on the shoulder or something, and
And what happened?
that was it. He was just like, "All right, thanks." And I was like, "Why'd I do that? I touched him."
Yeah.
And
Why
then-
did you do
Why did
that?
what's
Why
wrong
did
with
you
me?
do that? What is wrong? What is wrong with you?
It was like 1999, 2000 or something.
God, I'm gonna run home and take a shower after that
You
story.
should.
It really
You
makes
should.
me uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable telling it. I'm reliving
I'm
it
really
in my
sorry
head.
that happened to him.
I can't. Well, hey, thanks for talking with me.
Thank you so much. I can't believe it's been 2 hours.
Yeah.
Do all your interviews run this long?
Oh,
Or
the
do they
good
go
ones.
longer?
The good ones do.
God, that went quite quick.
Well, I'll cut the first few minutes out, so it'll be a
Oh
little
yeah,
less.
all the off the record stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they go longer, sometimes shorter. It depends how much time people give me.
Thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Well, yeah. Please come
And
back.
thank you for having Diet Coke for me. I really appreciate that. You really did your homework.
I didn't. Have you brought it. You brought the Diet Coke.
I know.
Oh.
Just making a point.
Why Diet Coke? Why not just regular Coke? Because
Fat Mike.
Fat Mike. Well, like Diet Coke doesn't taste good though.
It tastes. Yes, I like it.
You like
the taste
it?
of it. So you know.
But you were nervous about the chemical stuff that they,
Nope.
they take out the sugar, but they put in other chemicals to
No,
make
I'm
up
okay
for
with
it.
the chemicals.
You're okay with chemicals.
Yeah, I don't have many vices in life, so if little chemicals in my soda is fine.
Did you ever smoke?
Never.
That's interesting because your parents smoked and you didn't. You never even touched it.
No.
Interesting.
No, but I grew up around all that secondhand smoke.
I know.
Who knows what that did to me?
I know. Oh. What about your brothers? They smoke?
No.
Wow,
None
you
of
guys
us.
all avoided it.
Yeah.
Good for you guys.
Well, I think probably my mom dying of cancer
Right.
probably.
Well, you never know.
ingrained in
People
us.
that doesn't
Right.
bother some people.
Yeah.
You know.
But I think it's definitely made an impression on all of us in a way that we hated cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I smoked for 15 years.
15.
Yep.
When did you quit?
I quit. When did I quit? I quit. Oh, right before my 30th birthday. So it's been like 11 years.
Do you miss it?
No, and actually, if I smell it, I get nauseous, and I'll smell people that smoke, and I go, I can't. Oh fuck! I used to smell like that.
Why did you quit?
I wanted to quit. I kind of hated. Like I loved it, but I hated. I was like, I know that's not good for me, and I know it's expensive, and I know it's disgusting, and at the time I quit, the prices just got jacked really high. It was like $8 a pack now, and you couldn't really smoke anywhere. So I was like, it's probably a good time to quit.
It is so expensive.
So expensive, and I was dating. I was trying to start dating. Right, I was in my late 20s, and I was like in LA, and I'm like, I'm alone. I'd like to date.
Yeah.
And if you're smoking, that cuts out like a lot of people.
Yes. Rightly so. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I dated someone who smoked, and
Yeah.
kissing was disgusting.
Yeah, it's gross. It's gross.
Horrible.
Deborah would never have talked to me if I was a smoker.
Yeah.
She can't believe I used to smoke. I used to have long hair down my middle of my back,
Oh wow.
goatee and all that stuff. She's like, every time I talk to her, she sees pictures of me. She's disgusted.
I'm disgusted just hearing it.
I'm sorry I disgusted you. Yeah. So that's me, Mike. That's
All
me.
right. That's you.
So there you go. Well, hey, thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
so
Would you
much.
like to plug anything else? Your Twitter?
tvline.com,
tvline.com.
Twitter, Michael Ausiello, Instagram, Michael Ausiello, book, September 12th. I think that's everything.
All right,
you.
awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll see you in September.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Cool.
Okay, thanks.
There you go, folks. That was my talk with Michael Ausiello. Hopefully it's a part one of a two-parter, and after I read his book, he'll come back on and talk about that. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on. Really good talking with you and spending time with you. Okay, so one more time for my plugs. Twitter at EJ Scott and at EJ Podcast. Instagram at EJ Scott1106. Website ejscott.com. Running Blind documentary on iTunes, Amazon, and Google Play. Charities to donate to on crowdrise.com/7on7. Go subscribe to my podcast on iTunes and on iHeartRadio. I'm on there now, so go check that out. Check out all my past podcasts, and don't miss any of the future ones. You don't want to miss a word. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.